Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. Today, we're delighted to have Mark Cronin, co-founder of John's Crazy Socks, join us. Together with his son, John, who has Down syndrome, Mark launched this innovative social enterprise with a mission to spread happiness through socks. Since its inception, John's Crazy Socks has become the world's largest sock store, offering over 4,000 unique designs and fulfilling more than 2 million pairs of socks. Beyond their extensive product range, they've raised nearly $800,000 for charity partners and employ a diverse workforce with more than half of their employees having differing abilities. In this episode, we'll explore Mark's journey in building a business that combines e-commerce business with a strong social mission, discuss the challenges and triumphs of running a family-owned enterprise, and delve into how they leverage digital marketing to create a global community centered around inclusivity and joy. Guys, thanks for being here.
Oh, we're excited to be here, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about the journey of John's Crazy Sock?
Well, sure. You want to go back to the beginning?
Yes, Dad.
All right. Well, let's go back to the fall of 2016. And our story starts
A small like Captain
small log cabin in the woods. No.
No.
It starts here on suburban Long Island outside New York City. And where were you?
I was at Huntington High School. I grew up in my license school.
And there's something you should know about John. John, among other things, a great entrepreneur. You're an athlete, a dancer,
Yes.
a speaker. But John also has Down syndrome.
Yes, I do.
So John was in his last year of school, like everybody else, trying to figure out what comes next. And what were you looking at?
I look at job, program, and school. I can't find a great option I don't like.
This is an unfortunate reality. Only 1 in 5 people with a disability are employed in this country. It's awful.
Yeah.
But John here is a natural entrepreneur.
Yes.
You didn't see a job you wanted, what you said.
I said I want to make one. I want to create one.
It comes to me, and what you tell me.
I told my partner I want to be with him. A nice father and son been together.
We'll just create a business. Okay. So we start heading down that path. John had a lot of ideas.
I did.
Many of you in the audience, you're entrepreneurs, you get ideas all the time. They're not all good ideas, but you have a lot of ideas.
Yes.
What was one of yours?
What was them in a food truck? I saw a Korean movie called Chef. One of the actor, John Farrow, a neat movie about father and son buying a food truck.
So everybody loves a food truck. Everybody who's out there is eating at food trucks, and we're
Yes.
thinking, what could we make? Where would we put it? But we ran into a problem.
We can cook.
Yeah, we can cook. So
But you
It
like to
wasn't-
eat, but you cannot cook. It's like
We-
me.
Yeah.
we are good at the eating part,
Oh
right?
yeah, we do.
Yeah, me too.
But right before the U.S. Thanksgiving, John had his eureka moment.
I did. I was so crazy socks. What socks is fun and colorful and crazy and always let me be me. I want crazy socks my whole life.
We used to drive around looking for these socks.
Yes.
You were showing us, some of your fun socks.
Oh yeah, because I'm a big fan of funny socks, and so I have these, and then I have the Grinch, which I think is really funny amongst many
That
more.
is great
So
sock.
That's those are
yeah,
great.
yeah, and then it's like a little fuzzy, and I don't
fuzzy,
wear them a lot because they're kind of thick, but they're very funny.
Yes.
But so we kind of figured this. If John loved these crazy socks, surely other people would too. We could find those people. So we eschewed the standard business plan. I've written plenty of business plans. I've evaluated plenty. We went the lean startup route. We said, let's get something up and running, and customers will let us know. So you already had the name.
I got a name, a tour website, come idea.
We built a simple website on the Shopify platform. We got a little bit of inventory. The only marketing we did, and we want to talk about digital marketing, was to set up a Facebook page. And I would take out my cell phone and we made videos. And who was in those videos?
I am.
And we noticed something. People started sharing those videos. What day did we open?
We opened a Friday, December 9th, 2016.
And we didn't know what to expect. And that first day, we got what felt like a flood of orders. We got 42 orders. Most of them were local, which made sense. You were in Huntington High School. We lived in the town of Huntington.
Still.
We had temporary office space there. So how did we deliver those first orders?
Our home deliveries, and we got red boxes, put a sock in the box, and I put in a sticky note hour personalized. I put in candy, I put in a holiday kisses.
We write thank you note, candy, loaded up the car, drove around, and you knocked on doors delivering socks.
Yes, it did.
How did customers respond?
A customer response, they love socks, and a customer love me.
They love you. And word began to spread.
Yes.
People started sharing things on social media. There were fun things. We'd show up in New York, in December. It gets dark early, it gets cold. We're at a house. I'm watching John get out. He goes up, he knocks on the door, he goes inside. I'm out in the car freezing. And where is he? Well, he's inside drinking hot chocolate, telling stories, taking pictures, having a grand old time. But at the end of that month, really 2 weeks, from the 9th until like the 23rd, because everything stops ahead of time, we shipped 452 orders and we knew we had something. We didn't know how big it would grow. We didn't know how fast it would grow, but we knew we had something we could build. So now jump ahead 8 years. We've just started our 9th year.
Yeah.
We've created a slightly different type of business model. It's a social enterprise. So we are a for-profit, but we have a decided social mission as well. And that business and that social mission feed off of each other. If all we were doing was selling socks, Alexander, you would not be talking to us. And we've built the business on 5 pillars of, values. We know who we are. We have a very clear mission. What's our mission?
Spread happiness.
Spread and happiness. So today, well, let's see. We've shipped over 475,000 orders, about 2 million pairs of socks. We have raised now over $800,000 for our charity partners that start with the Special Olympics. We've been able to create 34 jobs. 22 of those are held by people with different abilities. And you like to say,
So get started.
we're just getting started. That's kind of in a nutshell of how we got started.
And that earned John also the Entrepreneur of the Year award, which is pretty impressive too, because a lot of people fight for that award. So congrats to you as well.
John was the first person with Down syndrome to win the EY Entrepreneur of the Year.
One of the few in general to just win it, because it's once a year, like, one person a year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. No, it's very exciting. And so, building a business like that, I'm sure you don't do it yourself. And I know you have employees. Did you have what were your influences, or did you have any mentor helping you along that journey? Or you really just the two of you just pounded and got it done?
Well, the answer is yes. So I had never worked in retail before, never worked in fashion. I spent most of my career in the healthcare field. Going back to the 80s, I ran the New York City Medicaid health program. Then I ran a series of healthcare management firms and and consulting firms. But I also started a software company along the way, and I ran political campaigns. And part of it, I'm 66 years old. I have spent my entire life preparing for this conversation. Everything along the way you learn. Everything is a learning opportunity. So we had that. We were humble in that we knew we didn't know what the heck we were doing. So one of the things we did, which was really beneficial, there's a guy named Kurt Elster who has something called the Unofficial Shopify Podcast. And I would listen to that and took that as a cookbook. He said, do this, we did that. We've gotten to meet and know Kurt a little bit. He's terrific. We were able to take advantage of something called Mass Challenge, which is a business accelerator program. So we participated in that in 2017, and that was very helpful, both in the networking possibilities and lessons we learned. And we have some mentors that remain from there that are good advisors. You mentioned before that you were a member or are a member of EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization, as am I. That's been very helpful. Particularly there was one year we were very stressed out, and it was helpful to have others, not to solve the problems, but to be able to listen and share experiences. So you can't do this alone.
No.
You,
Yeah,
you
no, for
need
sure.
other people, and you need a good team. But also, if you're the person running the organization, it's helpful to be in something like EO or have a mastermind group where you can talk to other people who are in the same chair.
Yeah.
Because your team's not going to really understand that.
No, yeah,
That's
no, no,
not a
for sure.
knock on them, but yeah.
And so, as you grew year after year, what did you, because as you mentioned, it was brand new to both of you to do e-commerce, fashion, all this stuff. What did you find was the most challenging? Like, I know everything was challenging because that's the point of entrepreneurship, but what did you find struggling the most with? So what was your biggest pain point as you were growing?
Well, our biggest challenge came from the fact that we were undercapitalized. So we bootstrapped it with very little startup money. We boomed our first 2 years through a combination of viral events and media coverage. With the viral events, watch what you ask for, you may get it. That put a stress on the business. But our first 2 years, our first year we did 1.7 million in revenue. We were 5 million our second year.
Oof.
That sounds great.
Yeah, on paper.
Right. At the end of the second year, I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I'm saying, oh, okay, we did great. On paper, we made a profit. Look at all this growth. How come I got no money?
Yeah, inventory.
Right. And, my accountant says, Mark, let's go take a walk in your warehouse and let's look at all your inventory and the infrastructure that you built. And so in 2019, we started looking for investment. It's always best to look for money when you don't need the money.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened in 2019 is our sales started coming down to earth because we didn't have some of the unusual events that we had the previous year. So by the end of that year, we finished at about 2.2 million. If I told you we went from 1.7 to 2.2 in 2 years, you'd say that's pretty good. But if I told you we went from 5 to 2.2, you'd say that's not good. So that got to be ugly. And we had we had people the first 2 years lining up. Oh, we'd love to put money. Can I give you money? Oh, the banks came in, met with us, and we're working with an investment banker who said, don't give up equity. We'll get you lines of credit. It'll all be great. The banks came in. Oh, we love the story. We love the growth. We love the fact you've made a profit even while growing. We're not going to give you any money, but we like what you're doing. And then we had investors come in who basically what they wanted to do was buy us and shut us down. They wanted to buy the brand, and they thought the brand was just John smiling. They didn't understand that it was the whole package. So by the end of the year, we were virtually bankrupt. I thought we'd come back. We're very seasonal. We do 60% of our business in the last 2 months,
Wow.
which is tough.
Yes.
But we didn't have money for inventory. I remember meeting with a bankruptcy law firm and said, oh, we'll declare Chapter 11. We can shepherd you through this. We'll get you through. All you have to do is give us $50,000 up front. Guys, if I had $50,000, I'm not talking to you. So that was the biggest pain point. We did find a strategic partner who helped us stabilize financially and gave us manufacturing capabilities. Over the past year, we've kind of evolved that relationship. We've taken back more control over things. But that was, managing capital and cash flow
Yes.
was the toughest challenge.
Yeah. And I'm so, in awe of some people that manage to get negative working capital while growing. And I was like, how did these vendors or manufacturers agreed to basically front the entire inventory for like 90 days? I think that doesn't happen anymore. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know the company was called Gymshark. I don't know if you know these guys. And that's how they managed to grow. Basically, it's the manufacturer that totally financed their growth, which was very rare.
We certainly didn't have that in the beginning. There was some iron, there were places they didn't want to sell to us, like when we were just going to open, they didn't want to sell to us until we demonstrated we had customers.
Yeah.
Well, if you won't give me inventory to sell, how the heck am I going to get customers? And then it went from that, and you got to pay up front for everything. We're not shipping until you pay, to we're giving you deep discounts and lines of credit because we became significant customers for them.
It's
You have to
complicated.
try to manage that.
Yeah. It's the complicated part.
And then the other part is about growth. We've stagnated. As they say, opening a kimono, we've stagnated, and it's an interesting conversation of all of the feedback we get is positive. Everybody loves everything. We do customer surveys, our net promoter score is a 94. It's so high to be like off the charts. And it's like, well, if we're doing so many things well and so many things right, how come we're not doing, I get all these people go, oh, you should be $100 million company. I'm saying, fine, just tell me how.
Sure, I'll do it.
Right. Do you have the answer key?
Yeah, that's always it's always easy on theoretically.
The good thing is we know who we are. We know how to work with folks. We stick to our values. Your values don't matter until they cost you money. And at the same time, you have to differentiate between what's a core value and what's a nice to have. I'll give you an example of that. So when we first started, we were only selling other people's socks. And then we started designing our own and developing our own. John, you designed the first
Yeah.
pair that we made. And originally I thought, we have to have everything made in the US because we're about creating jobs. Well, it turns out, the knitting trades left the US decades ago. And it's not just a matter of cost. It's a matter of capacity and technology. And so, it took some, hard looks and then realizing, you know what? Made in America would be nice to have, and we still have some things made in the States, but it's not core to our value. And I'll give you a flip side of that. So we put candy in every package. It's our way of saying thank you to our customers. What candy did we start with?
We start with our Hershey Kisses.
Hershey's Kisses, which everybody loved. You could open the package, you could smell the chocolate. Until we got the email from the woman in Florida saying you may not want to be sending chocolate to the South in the hot weather. So we eventually moved to Skittles. We sent out over 300,000 packages of Skittles. And I kept knocking on different doors at the Mars Corporation to say, hey, guys, we should collaborate here. You should be the official candy of John's Crazy Socks. And eventually, we spoke to the right power lord who said, it was very nice and complimentary and stuff. He said, but we already do a partnership with the NFL and NASCAR, and you're not the NFL or NASCAR, so we don't want to do anything. Okay, no problem. But I'm no longer going to be buying 300,000 packages of Skittles from you. So our warehouse manager, also known as the Lord of the Socks, he went out and found us a place. He found a lollipop. We were paying 26 cents a package for the Skittles. The lollipops are about 4.5 cents each. Great. We'll do 2 lollipops. One for you, one to give to a friend. My partners look at this and say, nah, what are we doing? We don't have to put candy in anyway. 1 lollipop. And if people complain, we could do something. Now, these are good people, and they're smart people. But I also realized at that point, if I got to explain to you why 2 lollipops over 1 lollipop, we got a problem. We do 2 or more lollipops in every package.
That's
But
nice.
that's an example. You have to know who you are. You got to know what works. That's a conversation I have about digital marketing and marketing agencies of, how do you make that work? Or can you make that?
Yeah. And talking about that, what did you find for you that was the most efficient way to get the word out there? Because we talked about viral. So can you tell us a little bit more about like those videos? And I'm sure you didn't do it, you didn't chose to be viral. You thought like, let me do a cool video, but then it became viral. But like, what was the
So
story behind that? And did you measure the efficacy of those videos also?
we operate on a range of channels. And the principle we have is we're not going to chase transactions. We're going to try to build relationships. And we're going to show you who we are and share what matters. And part of what we need to do all the time, or make work, is we have to blend our social mission, which is primarily let's show what people with different abilities can do, and it's our hiring and advocacy work, with the socks, right? If we just do product, we're lost. But if we just do the advocacy work, well, then nobody buys the socks. And if we don't sell enough socks, we all go home. So there's that. When we first started, social media, the one we grew up on most was Facebook, but it operated very differently. When we first started, if you signed up and liked us, you saw every post we put up. Now that doesn't happen. We have 250,000 followers, you know. Mark Zuckerberg, he's got a lot of bills to pay. We gotta, you know, you gotta buy ads if you want to be seen. Um, Email is very important, very effective with us. But you have to find what works for you. Um, you know, some of what we've learned is slickness doesn't count. Authenticity does.
Yeah.
Real who you are. But you
And
know,
more I find also.
yes, and you know, particularly with AI, we've got an explosion of crap that's coming out, both written and visual. That's going to put an even greater premium on the truly authentic.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, I'll share on the viral video, you know, for those of you, because everybody comes to, if you got an agency, you go to the agency and say, we want to go viral. You know, it's we've had some experiences. Just make sure you know about it. So, like our first year, 2017, our first viral experience came first weekend of March, and there's always humor. Um, we're just getting started, right? You know, we got up. We're doing about 40 orders a day, and we sent out our first press release to try to get some attention. And it's an online journal called The Mighty that covers issues about people with neurodiversity and mental and disabilities. And they wanted to write a story and they interviewed us. It was an email interview. They sent us some questions, we answered. They wrote a nice little article that was very nice. So it's the first Saturday, and we did a pop-up shop at a local bar and restaurant. We had a lot of fun. It was our best day. And that night, John, you wanted to go out to dinner at the meatball place. Remember?
I do.
We got to try about 45 minutes to get to this place. And I told you we're on the Shopify platform. Well, by default, Shopify puts an app on your phone, and every time you get a sale, you get a little cha-ching. My eldest son says it's like a pheromone release. So we're driving out to dinner, and all of a sudden, cha-ching, cha-ching, it's going wild. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at our Shopify stats on our Google Analytics. I'm like, where is this coming from? At one point in my hubris, I look at John and I say, well, you know, must be the SEO work I was doing. It turns out the Mighty put out a video. It's a slideshow video. They didn't film anything original. They put out this slideshow video about our business. Last I looked, that had over 20 million views. So we went from
Wow.
doing 40 orders to over 1,000 orders.
Oh my God.
Almost put us out of business. Which, you know, it sounds wonderful. And there were hilarious things. You know, and one night I went up to the local Best Buy to get two more computers so we had more packing stations. And I convinced two of their employees to come work for us the next day. We would have tractor trailers show up. We were in this old house. It was built in 1741 and had been converted to office space. And we had this small building. And when they say they don't build it like they used to, be grateful. Undulating floors, like if you got up from your chair on wheels, it would roll away. Tilted stairways, low ceilings. The upstairs was our warehouse. We'd have tractor trailers pull up because we just kept ordering it. You know, the more money we just to meet this demand. And there would be no place to put the packer. We'd line it up on the sidewalk.
Oh my God.
And then by the summer, we're finding out nobody buys socks in the summer, so it all dries up. We limp into the fall. Things start picking up in October. And the first weekend of November, we got an invite to appear on Fox and Friends. Okay. We get on and we get 3,300 orders that morning,
Oh my God.
which is great, except what the hell are we going to do? Um, we we finish the year and we tell everybody go home. we're seasonal people. Thanks, we'll call you next year. Or even the regular people, we said, don't come in until mid-January. Well, we did an interview with the BBC. And we've done interviews with German TV and stuff. You saw a little blip. We didn't see much from that interview, but they do what all the show stations do. They cut it up into a video and they put it out. Last I looked, that video had over 40 million views.
Oh my
Again,
God.
it's not a special video. At the same time, or a little bit later that year, Google calls us up. Somebody working with Google and says, we'd like to make a video with you. Now you can see who has money in this world, because we've been very fortunate with a lot of media coverage. The largest crew you would see would have 4 people: a reporter, a producer, a camera person, a sound person. Google shows up with 23 people.
Oh my God.
They brought catering, they brought makeup, they had extra everything. They made this gorgeous video. Of course, it was, and I mean, very funny, about how Google saved us, even though the year before we had spent a grand total of $500 on Google Ads. It's a gorgeous video. They put it out on Father's Day weekend. They were going to tap into the father-son relationship. They released it on Friday on their YouTube channel and their blog. On Father's Day itself, if you went to the Google homepage in 2018, you had the Google search box in the middle of the page then, and below it you had a line of text that connected to the video. We asked them, how much traffic should we expect? Their first answer was, we don't know. We don't have any data. You're Google. All you have is data.
Exactly. That's what you sell.
Right? Then they came back and gave me a number that had more zeros than my calculator could handle. Well, that video with all that backing, last I looked, even years later, has about 40,000 views. Now, that's very nice.
That's it.
But these other crappy, not well-made videos had millions of views. And it just tells me you can't predict. Microsoft did the same thing with us. Same thing, 20 some odd people, beautiful video. Released it with Satya Nadella's backing.
Not much.
No. And social media, so we do lots of things. First, you have to have, you got to have the goods, right? So one of our keys is, one of our pillars, we're going to have products you love, fun products you can love. But part of that means we got to have a great website. We got to have great selection, 4,000. We got to have great product. We have over 33,000 5-star reviews. You got to have great service. We do same-day shipping. Our error rate is 0.22 of 1%. We do better shipping than Amazon. And Jeff Bezos, he's not putting a candy and thank you note in those Amazon.
No, I know. The less he can put in the package, the better for him.
So you got to have that. And that's really important. Because if you can't deliver the goods, everything else you do is for naught. And then you got to have content worthy of people's attention.
Yep.
You just can't put out stuff. You got to have something that's going to grab people. And you got to have a lot of it. Because, it's an insatiable beast. You work in the field, It's great. We had some good content. We posted this and this and this. And it's like, okay, but, you got to do it tomorrow. You got to do it every day.
Every day. It's a big
and it doesn't
grind.
stop. you know?
No, I tell people SEO is kind of like a hot air balloon. And it starts, and you're like, you're trying to blow the balloon and it doesn't do anything. And it takes minutes and minutes and it takes a long time. But then once you start getting its shape, that's where you start seeing the result, which usually takes about, a year, I would say, to really, become big. But then you have to keep feeding it. And if
Yes,
you stop,
yes,
it's not going to fall down as fast as a hot air balloon,
so
but you're gonna
yes,
feel it.
so we're very cognizant of that. We
Yeah,
have to have stuff, and that's product, but it's also things we do. Um, so we we do try to turn our processes into content to share what we do.
great
Um,
idea.
but then you recognize things like, so John, you're in much of our stuff. We'll get a lot of engagement just showing a picture of John getting a haircut. Um, you know,
Got to do what works.
some of the videos that last year got the most engagement from us were, we are American football fans and we root for the New York Jets. What does that mean?
I'm not gonna be a suffer.
We know how to suffer. So,
I'm sorry, I don't follow NFL, so I don't know. I
right,
don't know
right.
the team, but
So, here's, you don't have to follow, but, like the year before, the Jets signed this star player, a guy named Aaron Rodgers. And in the first game, 5 plays into the game, he tears up his Achilles tendon. He's out for the year. John starts sending him videos. You'll be okay. You can come back. I believe in you. And then this year was making videos. Those got amongst our most attention. Um, one that comes recently. So more than half of our colleagues have a different ability. For many of them, this is their first job. So among the things we do, we have a little ceremony for everybody's when they get their first paycheck. We get everybody round and we do a formal presentation of the first paycheck. Well, we put some videos out. People love it. But you got to have that. And then you got to work it to, we mainly operate on Facebook, Instagram. Now we're growing our TikTok. We have a YouTube channel. We don't get a lot of traction there. We have hundreds of videos up there. We're still sending stuff out on X, and you get different reactions, different audiences. It's worth having a conversation about digital marketing because I know you run an agency.
yeah,
We work with different agencies, some better than others. But some of the challenge there is the sense of voice and authenticity. You really have to be close to it. So the bad ones, the bad situations are people that make really nice videos and really, good looking content, but it's generic.
yeah. And
It
it's gonna
doesn't
get more
have
and more
the feel.
generic with AI.
Right. Um, so you got to keep it close, but the expertise you need to stay on top of everything is
Oh yeah.
challenging.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
It
know.
changes. It
I
changes
I
all
I
the
I
time.
live I live on both sides of the fence, because with the e-commerce company that I have and the agency, I see both, and yeah, and it's a grind on both sides. It's really like it's something you really cannot stop because at the end of the day, you only live digitally. So if you don't go and reach out to people, you don't really have like a store where, people are walking by. So that's the biggest challenge I would say when you have
No,
e-commerce.
and it keeps changing. So, right, again, I mentioned when we first started with Facebook, well, everybody was following us. Now you got to keep fighting to earn that traction. Email is becoming tougher and tougher.
Yep.
Um, People were inundated with email. And again, with AI, oh, we can create 10 pieces of email a day. Who the hell wants 10 pieces of email a day?
Yeah, now it's gonna be SMS, and then soon it's gonna be some voice. I don't know, voice
Right.
message. I
And,
know WhatsApp also.
it's, Google, search again, when I first started doing things, you worked hard to get on top of the Google search page. Well, now they sell so much ads that show up on top. You can be first, but you're the bottom of the page. And then there's AI. We had a strategic planning meeting the other day. I'm going around the table asking people who's using Google, who's using Perplexity or ChatGPT to do their searches. And more than half the group is they're using AI tools for searches. It's like, well, what does that tell you? Um, you got to
Brand is gonna
rank
be
in
in.
AI, but
Yeah,
they may give you the source link, but you got the information you wanted.
yeah.
Um, it's so you got to have that compelling story, and you got to find a way to stay with, to connect with your customers. And even that, we get a 60% open rate on our emails. Um,
Wow,
we work
that's
hard.
really good.
It's
That is a very healthy
Yeah,
metric.
right. Like one of the emails we send out, goes out every Friday, is an email from John. It's a
Yeah.
plain text email. It's not selling you anything. It's just John telling you what's on his mind and what he's been up to and what's happening. We get like a 65% open rate on that. People love it. But that's, you got to be hard and you got to be willing not to sell all the time to build that relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but fewer and fewer people are opening emails, or it's all, Google is sending it off to promotions, so you don't see that.
Yeah, but there are some tips and tricks on that. I'll tell
Yes,
you. I'll tell you
yes.
after.
Well, no, but there are, and
Yeah,
but that's also part of it. When we first started,
you didn't need that. Yeah.
well, we use Klaviyo as the email sender, the email platform.
Mm-hmm.
The first time they had some sort of session outside of Boston, they were based in Boston. They did one in New York City, and I went in, and there were maybe 15 people in the room. And it's early on for us. And, why did I sign up with Klaviyo? Because I listened to Kurt Elster on his podcast who said, use Klaviyo. I'll use Klaviyo. And I got to know Klaviyo inside out. I did all our flows. I'm running all our email. I don't do that anymore. I can't tell you I'm an expert in Klaviyo because you got to really be into it all the time. And if you're not, that's ephemeral knowledge. It just slips away. You can understand the concepts,
Yeah,
but
but
everything it
then
can
it
do.
gets hard.
And it's hard for a small business to do that.
Oh
That's where
yeah,
an agency comes in because, as you just said, well, I know all the tricks.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
of course, you have to be able to differentiate between, oh, what's the technical term? The bullshit artist and those that are really good.
yeah.
Um,
But
it's
on LinkedIn, everybody's good.
yes, on social media, we all curate a life.
Exactly. And so, we talked about a lot of the growth. And so, do you have any exciting upcoming projects that you want to share today?
We do. Um, so, listen, our basic pitch for our retail socks, is you're gonna get socks you love, socks that will make you feel happy. And when you do that, you enable us to hire people with different abilities. You enable us to give back, $800,000. John's donated more than $150,000 to the Special Olympics, more than any Special Olympic athlete. And you're going to help us spread happiness. But for the businesses out there, the fastest growing segment of our business is B2B. We make custom socks. So you can give out custom socks to your customers, to your employees with your logo. They're going to put them on. Every time they put them on, they think about you.
Yeah.
We have a welcome series package, which customers are really loving. Here's a simple thing. You're an HVAC company. This is a real life example. So we made custom socks for them, a hot sock and a cold sock. And we put together a little package. Every time they get a new customer, they send us that contact information and we ship them out as package that has notes from them and stuff. Their customers love it. They keep reordering it. They love it. So we're doing that for businesses. And we're introducing a new service this year, a kitting and assembly service. If you're a manufacturer, a distributor, and you need things put together, or that, for that matter, taken apart, we can do it for you. We have a great workforce, and it's powered by John. So you're not only going to get the work done at a good price, but you're going to help us employ people with different abilities. You're going to help us give back. It's a good story you can tell your customers and your supporters.
For sure. I love the idea of the custom socks. I think it's a really good idea because it's when you offer a gift, you want to offer something a little bit unique. You don't want to offer something like, oh, let me get you a Yeti cup. It's like, okay, everybody has one now. But personalized socks that are good, and on top of that, that is like a good social impact. That is like an amazing story. So, and I'll probably we're gonna need to talk after that because you gave me some ideas for my company as well.
And we've made those for IBM and Microsoft, thousands of socks, but also for small businesses, and people use them. Nonprofits use them. St. Joseph's University gave a pair to every incoming freshman. Holy Cross College used it as part of their fundraising, and I'm not saying this is going to happen for everybody, but they raised $800,000 with the socks. And companies love it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea for sure.
Every time there's a guy I know, he owns a big construction, home remodeling business. He loves his King quality socks. And every time I see him, he's showing me I'm wearing them and all. He's got customers making user videos when they get their socks. It's great fun.
That's a really cool idea. I really love that. No, for sure. After this podcast, we need to keep talking a little bit because I wanna hear more about that. And you know, you seem to be very ingrained in the marketing of the business, and so I have a question that I love to ask because I'm kind of expecting the same answer, but sometimes it is different. But it's what are you excited about digital marketing and what are you worried about?
Well, the worry part is, the lack of control, the lack of ability. I'll come back and use Facebook as an example. We can have 250,000 followers, but they don't belong to us. I can't go out and send a message to each of them. They belong to Facebook. And it's a very crowded marketplace.
Mhm.
Everybody and their uncle is out there. So that's always worries, and how do you stay on top of all the changes? But what's exciting is the way it lets us connect and relate to our customers. It's the way we can build our community and share information. And so it's sharing, here's some posts going up. It's sharing the first check videos. And I'm telling you, you're going to watch that and it's going to make you smile and it may make you tear up to see Nick get his first paycheck or Eddie get his first paycheck. We do a fair amount of advocacy work. We go to Capitol Hill twice a year because people will listen to us because of the business and the story. And we've spoken twice at the United Nations. We've testified twice before Congress. Well, we have to add nowadays, we were not subpoenaed. So something we have been working on for years now has been the elimination of the sub-minimum wage. 1938, the Fair Labor Standard Act created the 40-hour work week, created overtime, eliminated child labor, and it created the minimum wage. But there's a section in there that says companies or organizations could get a certificate that allowed them to pay people with a disability less than minimum wage. So when we first got involved, there were 400,000 people in this country being paid as little as 5 cents an hour. So we've been banging on doors. We've been pushing for the elimination of this, as have other groups. We work with others. Well, last month, the Department of Labor issued regs that said no more of these certificates are known as 14C certificates. And those that have them will be phased out within 3 years. So all this is coming back to the digital world. So what happens when a federal agency puts out draft regs is they have a comment period and they want comments. So that the comment period in these regs ends January 17th. So we're able to connect to our community and say, hey, folks, here's what's going on, and we need you to go comment. And that can bring about real change.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That can have a real impact in the world. It's a way to share with people of, we're always trying to create customer experience. So tell us, what do you want? What socks do you want? Or what can we do to make you happier? But in addition to that, it's us saying, hey, thank you. Look at these people you help us employ. Look at the joy you're creating. We publish a giving back report because we tell people, 5% of our earnings go to the Special Olympics, and for this product, 10% goes here. So every month we publish a report. It's coming back to our customers. You gave us your money. Here's what we did with it.
That is really inspiring.
We can do these things in the digital world.
Yeah, no, and you can do them at a much larger scale because it's digital, which is
right.
what's amazing. No, guys, John and Mark, that was really truly inspiring today. I feel a lot better after this call, to be honest. No, it's really cool, and I will for sure. I was, waiting to talk to you, but I wanted to get maybe which are the socks that I should try first.
Well, it's hard to pick out socks for you. We'd have to know what you really like. What's your favorite pair of socks?
Oh,
what's your favorite pair?
The type.
Down syndrome.
Down syndrome. His favorite are Down syndrome superhero socks. But
okay.
Here's something that we're realizing. I've now been turned on to compression socks, and every time I fly, I want to wear compression socks. So we're adding more and more kind of
the compression socks. Okay. Oh, now you're giving me too many choices, but I'll browse and I'll find something.
We just introduced a whole bunch of animal socks. We have all sorts of categories, right? Food, yes. Animals.
I see bamboo socks as well.
Celebration. We have
it's super. I will browse and I will pick a couple because that is one of the things that I love doing. The problem is that now I have more funny socks than normal socks. Like, I have to be careful where I go and which socks do I put in the morning.
Well, and I'll share something with your audience. That creates another opportunity. So if you order from us, when that package arrives, it's in a brightly colored package that stands out from all the browns and tans of other packages. You open it up, you get your socks. You get a handwritten thank you note from John. And on the backside of that, you get the story of John's crazy socks. You get your candy, you get your lollipops. And on the packing slip, you see the name and the picture of the person who picked your order. So you're not just getting socks.
The whole
You're getting a dose
experience.
of happiness. It's going to make you feel good just opening the package.
Now that's super. So anybody, you can head to johnscrazysocks.com. Take a look. That was really a beautiful story, truly inspiring. I will totally, encourage everybody to follow you guys on Facebook and Instagram. Follow the story of John's Crazy Socks, a daily adventure, I would say. But thank you so much for taking the time, and I really wish all the success to you guys.
Thank you very much.